Gentlemen, it is my special pleasure to introduce a woman who clearly needs no introduction. A very great actress on her first trip to London.
Marilyn, is it true you wear nothing in bed but perfume?
Darling, as I'm in England, let's say I sleep in nothing but Yardley's lavender.
Talk about preparing for this role. There's not a lot of backstory in the film, and I wondered how much backstory you did.
Well, our director was so well read on the era and the subject and the people. It was wonderful just sort of chatting with him about who they were and what motivated them and what the inner workings of them was. I actually love playing people that have existed because you're having to make, if you're creating an inner life for a person from scratch, you have to make all those decisions yourself. I'm terrible with decisions, so I'd make a decision about their history and then go, oh no, that might not be right, and then I'd spend the entire time panicking that I hadn't made the right. So if they have existed, then you can ask people and you can read about them and it kind of formulates a very clear understanding of the person that you're getting under the skin of. So and the whole situation that these people found themselves in, and you could completely understand certainly Milton's desperation to make everything okay, because it was just all, boiling and about to explode. And by all accounts, he did a pretty bad job of making it all right. She is someone who I've grown up with but know nothing about, and that's the truth. And I think that's how so this idea of having a tiny little glimpse into the real, intimate, darker side is for me completely compelling.
Get in.
Any problem, Roger?
No, just dropped by to take Colin out to lunch.
You're not taking him to Marilyn?
Oh, no, sir.
Okay. You have a nice time, boys.
Surprise!
Jesus!
Roger and I decided to take you on an adventure.
What the hell? Colin! Get back here, you little bastard! Colin!
What was it like watching Michelle Williams unfold on the set? On screen, it was like 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, wow, this is Marilyn.
These things are just... I don't know how she did. It must have been so terrifying because people's preconceived ideas of who this person is, and they have images. They're probably of this incredibly flamboyant and sexy woman who knew herself and was in charge of herself, but the reality of who she was completely different. And she would just have a moment every day, and I just sort of, you watched it happen. You watched her just physically get into the space of this woman, and mentally, it was completely mesmerising watching it happen. And you kind of knew that it was something extremely special while we were filming.
Yeah. By the end of the film, you're just completely convinced she is Marilyn, so it's amazing, yeah. Talk about working on a film that's set in this era. You've got this romance of Hollywood that isn't in existence in Hollywood anymore. So I'd imagine that would be kind of fun to be on set with that.
It was wonderful, and it was that clash of cultures, how their world of movie making and then these sort of rather stuffy Brits in their dusty old studio doing it a completely different way, and the kind of misunderstanding of it all, of how it works, and Olivier's misunderstanding of how she worked, which he should have had more of an understanding because he was the director. He was not only the leading man, he was the director. But it was wonderful getting into those costumes and being the flamboyant, guys from over the pond who were coming in and wanting desperately to make a really good film, which they failed at. And being in the real studio where it was filmed and having, which in all honesty hasn't changed a great deal since then. It was great, and you could understand the sort of frustrations that they must have been experiencing, and the desperation to make this thing work. The formula should have been incredible. It should have worked, and none of them probably could understand quite why it wasn't. It was chaos ensued, and it by all accounts, was not a particularly good film.
But this film is,
this
so there you
film,
go.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Dominic.
Yeah, thank you.
Marilyn Monroe fancying you. Come on.
She breaks hearts. She will break yours.
I wouldn't buy the little girl lost act if I were you. I think Marilyn knows exactly what she's doing.
All people ever see is Marilyn Monroe.
What must it be like to be the most famous woman on earth?
You could quit this. Forget Marilyn Monroe. Forget Hollywood. But let it all go.
First love is such sweet despair, Colin.
Shall I be her?
Marilyn.